Are we live?
Yes, we are.
All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the show, where, of course, we talk movies, all that fun stuff with Mr. Lou Rod. How's it going, Lou? Lou, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, good. I was like, he's not responding over there. I don't know what's going on.
Well, because I didn't mute
the audio
other show.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. We've got a quick show here, 30 minutes. Start at 6:44, so 7:15 we should be done. Let's start off with Terminator DarFate. I just saw it today, and I know where all the hate comes from, but I don't get why it's such a hated movie, or not hate. Sorry, the reviews. A lot of people say the movie is terrible. It's garbage. I've seen reviews like that. I haven't actually gone into them just because I wanted to watch the movie first. My thoughts, I like the direction they went. I think some things needed better explanation, but it was fun action.
Like what?
We'll get to that if I say spoiler part. It's fun action. The storyline was good. I liked the different trajectory. But I think a lot of people have not watched T2 in a while. Understand that T2 is a very slow-paced movie as well. It's not as fast-paced as this. And also, a lot of story elements from T2 are continued in this movie. So that's something to take note. Now, speaking of spoiler, at the very beginning, again, spoiler, if you haven't seen Terminator DarFate, or you don't care, then it doesn't matter. At the very beginning of the movie, Sarah Connor is narrating, and they do a flashback to 1988 or 97. 97 was when what's it again? Judgment Day was supposed to be 97. 98, her son gets killed.
Which I was fine with it.
By Terminator. Some people don't like that. They thought it was a bastardization or a disgrace. I like that aspect. I also like the fact that, they said, look, they stopped Skynet. So Skynet it no longer exists. But Skynet sent a bunch of Terminators. And you also now have a new AI, which means, according to the premise of the first movie, whatever happened will still happen. Maybe not the same name or the same thing, but the same scenario will happen.
You stop one AI, another one is reborn.
Mm-hmm. So that aspect was cool. Now, some people also complained that in this movie, you find out that Arnold's Terminator grows a conscience, in a sense. And that was explained in Terminator 2, because I just watched it this weekend.
Okay, so you watched the movie.
They talked about the fact that Skynet caps all of the Terminators so that they don't learn anything new.
But if you reset the button, then they can...
You reset the button, exactly. And also, without any purpose, he has to go ahead and do stuff himself. So that's what happens.
Well, I mean, hey, the new Arnold had a wife, stepson, a dog.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. So some of the things that was interesting. I think the thing that I think they didn't do well was the relationship between Grace, who was sent to come save her. She's augmented human, which also to me makes sense. If you're going to fight Terminators in the future, you need human beings that can fight a Terminator. Not just Terminators, not just reprogramming you shooting Terminators, because the Terminators they have the Rev 9, they had the Rev 7s, and then there's a Rev 9. I was like, these things are both liquid and physical frame at the same time.
Yeah, all they did was take the T2 Terminator and make him.
They combined T1. They combine T1 and the T800 together. Or at least the frame of a T800 with a T1.
So, I don't know where the hate comes from. I mean, I look at the low box office revenue for it as bad weather. No, they don't want to come out in cold weather.
Yeah, I mean there was that, but I think also a lot of people just, there are a lot of reviews that kind of push people away,
Oh, people
and the,
stop.
and the
What,
trailers didn't help. I would say
well, I thought the trailers were good.
they didn't inspire because there were a lot of which is good because there was not a lot from the trailers they didn't show, which is good, and I got to see Sarah Connor, and I think also that I'm going to put this out there. I think there's a fear of having three women running in the movie at once. That whole idea of they talking about female empowerment and all that. But hey, look, let's be honest, right? If there's anybody you want to fight with you against the Terminator, it is Sarah Connor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the part that I think they should have done better is the relationship between Grace and the Mexican girl. I can't remember her name. Danny.
Yeah, Danny.
Yeah, what they should have done there was because basically what Grace was implying is you were like my mom. Because remember, she said and you raised me. That part is the part they didn't do well. Because if they had shown that she basically came to save her mother and that was it, like she didn't care about anything else, then I think it would have resonated more with people. Because yes, she joined the program, she got the augmentation, but you're my mom. And I came to save my mother. That's just it.
In a way, I mean, that future scene when they finally made the reveal.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene.
Yeah, because they didn't age her up. They
Yeah.
kind of all they did was
They,
like braid her hair
they
back.
made her look younger in my mind. Like I expected her to have like gray hair and not even fight the kids. Just like to me, if they gave her a similar entrance like Sarah Connor, older, that would have made more sense in that scene. So I think that was where there were a couple of things, but again, like I said, I enjoyed it. I think it was good. I think it was good enough and solid. On the other hand, Watchmen.
Okay, I haven't seen episode 2 and 3, but spoil away. I don't care.
You have oh my god. So what do you think of episode 1?
I enjoyed episode 1. I'm gonna watch. My thing is, I got caught up with. I watched The King on Netflix
Mm-hmm.
Friday. It's not a bad movie, but it's a little slow. But you
So
kind of expect it for being the timepiece that it is.
yeah, so it's a slow movie, slow burn.
So, and then Atypical also came out. So I was caught up watching that. Not too many people watch that show, but that's a really good show. Deals with autism.
Okay.
And then I've been watching Vikings. I don't know why. I like Vikings, and I felt like doing a rewatch. Getting ready for the new season.
Okay. All right. So Watchmen, also another show that got a lot of hates for the very first episode.
Now, let me ask you this as far as that, because you've watched the first 3 episodes. Are
Mhm.
you getting a political vibe in it?
Watchmen is a political comic book. If you ever read Watchmen, you know it's all about politics. The thing is, a lot of people who say they are fans of Watchmen, I've seen some reviews, and let's be honest, I mean, it almost feels like somebody's afraid of their own race because of the way the show portrays it. But if you watch and you let it breathe, you realize the show is to me, it's a well-written show. It's beautifully written. The idea in Watchmen, what you find from episode 1 is, it first looks like America has cops wearing masks, but by the time you get to episode 3, you find out it's only in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Where they wear masks?
Yeah, that's the only state the cops do. And
so that's basically, that's explained in the first episode.
Mm-hmm. So what happened is, what with the beauty of Watchmen, the very first episode, the very beginning, they show the Tulsa, Oklahoma bombings of 1921, which U.S. history has not covered. It's a very sad thing.
I brought that up after I watched the first episode. I brought that up at work,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, it's kind of effed up that history didn't cover that. I never knew that even took place.
Yeah, so that is something that was quite evident there. Episode one, they spent 5 minutes on it, and people are like, "Oh, this is very racial," and like, no, if you look at the comic, the original comic, right, they took a time where, I mean, they covered the Vietnam War in there and how American soldiers, did things in Vietnam. In the original Watchmen comic, it was, I mean, the comedian did a lot of stuff in Vietnam. So if you want to talk about politics and racism, I mean, or racial bias, you can throw that in the first book. It's not like it wasn't there. It's just that it wasn't black people. It was, the Vietnamese. I mean, it takes a very dense thing, set up. Hey, what's up, tech guy, smart buy? And then, so the episode one starts with that, right? And you see the cops are wearing masks because what happened is, there was a racial uprising, people who co-opted the messaging of Rorschach from the very first movie, and they called themselves the 7th Cavalry. Now, what the 7th Cavalry did was, what happened is the president in the show is Robert Redford. He's been the U.S. president for 30 years. Vietnam is the 52nd state. Most people don't pay attention to just these little details, a part of the U.S. Robert Redford has been president from 1988 till present for 30 years. Because Nixon also was president for a long time. The other thing also that he did was that he did the reparations, which is basically gave reparations to descendants or survivors from the massacre of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So a lot of people came back into Oklahoma, bought land, they got a lot of money, and that's where the 7th Cavalry came to be. So what happened is they got angry and, filled with hate, and then they went ahead and attacked the cops because they're like, these are the people who are protecting and serving. And they even explain more of that in episode 3. So there's that storyline that's building up. Then you find out in episode 2, they kill the police chief at the end of episode 1. In episode 2, he's dead. You find out that there's something with his past and connection. And then episode 3 introduces Silk Spectre from the movie.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that.
Not the same actress, but somebody else.
Yeah, but did you catch the little Easter egg where they had the Rorschach actor with Louis Gossett Jr.'s character as a kid?
I remember
it was in episode 1.
Yeah, but I didn't remember where he was with him as a kid. I can't remember the scene.
He's a survivor.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Louis Gossett Jr. was a survivor, but where did Rorschach meet him? Original Rorschach.
That I don't know. I guess in Tulsa, but it happens so fast. If you're not paying attention, you won't notice it. It's in one of those scenes, and you see it in a picture frame.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that is. So there's that. But then episode 3 introduces Silk Spectre, basically from the original book. She basically comes in as an FBI agent. Her job is to catch superheroes. She's a former superhero working as an FBI agent because superheroes have been outlawed, right? And there's so much Easter eggs in this episode. And then you also find out what was happening to I can hear your spoon. I can hear your spoon. I can hear that spoon. I know Lou's eating over there.
I'm not eating. I'm actually finishing up the dinner when my wife went to shower, when she's supposed to be doing all this.
All right, so you're cooking. Okay.
Unfortunately.
So you find out that she starts talking about what happened to the Watchmen. You find out that Owlman is still in prison. Comedian is dead. Her father is a comedian. She sounds more like the comedian now. She's grown older, or more cynical. And then, Mr. Manhattan is still on Mars, and they have phone booths. You can call Mr. Manhattan and leave him a message.
Oh shit!
And then Ozymandias, aka Adrian, I can't remember his last name.
Is that Jeffrey Irons?
Jeffrey Irons. He's in some prison. You find out he's trying to escape,
He's in prison. I thought he was in Wales.
He's on he's on an island, right? It looks like that, but all those clones that he keeps killing in episode 2 and 3 because he's trying to find a way to escape. And the thought process is that, at least I believe, and also with a couple of the theories I've seen, is that he's being imprisoned by Mr. Manhattan, Dr. Manhattan, on Mars as well, or somewhere that's not Earth.
Oh.
So I mean, it could be that, but it to me is a very good show. There's a lot of Easter eggs to the comic book. They explain a lot in the comic book, but they don't tell you right away. I had a friend of mine who said Watchmen is probably one of the worst writing he's ever seen, and I'm like, you've never read the comic book, and they don't write things to tell you this is it. They figure you're smart enough to understand. So episode 3 is a lot of just like Easter eggs in conversation as you hear it.
That's what's wrong with folks nowadays. They just they don't let stories build. They complain about this and that. It's like, oh God, you guys are such whiny babies.
Anyway, but yeah, definitely if you haven't watched Watchmen, definitely go check it out. Solid show. Next up is Joker. I mean, as Chazi says here, Joker is gonna hit $1 billion. Yes, it will hit $1 billion. It's at 934, which means, and remember, last weekend was at 820 something. So it means it made 100 million. It's gonna make $1 billion.
And mind you, folks, this is without China.
Yeah. So
it has not premiered in China, nor will it, I believe.
Most likely not is the indication from.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, but dude, this movie made this kind of bread without China.
Oh yeah, without China, and also the budget size. I mean, there's a lot of things to go by to say that, look, this is probably Warner Brothers is so happy with this, and I don't think they're going to announce a sequel anytime soon, just because there's also the Oscar buzz. They don't want to interfere with that, so you gotta space that out. But I think they might not announce a sequel. I think if I were wise with them, I would just continue more projects under that vein, in a sense. Maybe give that as a Todd Phillips sphere to head, or at least to mastermind just the process of doing other movies like this.
I was watching Collider Live today, and they brought up an interesting question. Because, Joker made this much money, but would Lex Luthor do it on just his name alone? Like, Briley pitched out the name Lex. Would people go and see it? And
Lex wouldn't do this much, but Lex would do enough.
But I don't think even under the name Lex, it would have to say Lex Luthor to get people to go watch it.
You know what they should call it? Lex Luthor Man of Steel. That will get people. I mean, there's a comic book like that. It's a fantastic comic book. It's about a 6-comic series, I think. Talks about Lex and how he does things to save society. I mean, you could even make it in a vein of a Superman world. They never show Superman, but Superman is in that world. They just talk about what Superman has done and how he pisses Lex off and how he tries to do things around the corner, So you could have a Lex Luthor Man of Steel, and there's I gotta find the frame. Let me look for that frame for you guys. Lex Luthor. Now somebody's washing over there.
Got the sink on, man. My bad, bro. My bad.
I can hear all of it.
I'm not by my computer, so I can't mute.
Okay, here's a frame. This is a beautiful frame right here. If I can actually share it. This is one of the times in the series they show Superman. If I can go in, I can share my screen, start sharing. Nope, doesn't allow me to show that. Chrome tab. Let's see. Can you see that tab?
Who, me?
I'm sure you guys can see it. So if you look at this right here, this is a beautiful one. So this is just him. Superman is out his window. He goes, but even staring at you in the abyss, I'm not afraid. Trust me, I'm not, because whatever you have, I have more. And then Superman hears something, probably an accident or something, and he goes away. And it's like, I have hope, because he treats Superman as a villain. He thinks of Superman as a villain. Not
Of course he does.
But I mean, the comic really stresses that aspect. It's like, this guy is a villain, you know. So I think if they went with that, and maybe as Lex is looking for ways to combat Superman, and he tries to run for president because he has the most power, and Superman will not stop him in that, arena. Like, there are many things you could do with that. I think that will work well.
Dude, they should make an anime of this and see how it's received, and then go.
To me,
if it's received well, then you could kind of mimic it.
To me, I think if I were them, I would go. I wouldn't do. So a lot of people have said Penguin, Riddler, which is good, but I won't do them yet. What I would do is
They can be interesting, but honestly, that takes villains to a whole new level as far as like the Riddler, the way he is.
No, the Riddler can be done. I mean, but to me,
I'm not saying he can't, but
if I wanted to do any of that, like I said, I would do Lex first, or I would actually go the other route and I'll do Batman Beyond, because again, it's a standalone story that can have its own universe that is not connected.
Dude, this is what's so fun now, because what are they going to do with HBO Max? That's something they can do there. You can lock in Michael Keaton into a show with a nice salary for him, and he would do it.
No, you could do the show, but I guarantee you, because of this, also movie-wise, they're going to go the route where, okay, look, let's do a Lex movie, let's do a Batman Beyond movie, because the Batman Beyond movie becomes sequels, because you cast the right Terry McGinnis, that is your young future Batman forever.
You saw the Umbrella Corps, right?
Yeah.
Number 5.
Nah, he's too young.
Is he? I could see him as either young. I could see him as that or Damian.
Oh wait, number 5. Who's number 5 again?
Was that the kid?
No, not the kid. He's too young. The brother, actually. To me, I mean, if you went into not number 5, the Asian brother, the one that died.
Oh, we really don't get to explore him too much.
Exactly. No, I'm saying him as Terry McGinnis. Because, I mean, casting-wise, I mean, Terry's DNA was rewritten with Batman's DNA, according to Amanda Waller. So it doesn't matter who his parents are.
He's basically what Superboy was in this week's episode of Titans.
Yeah, I mean that's what Superboy is. But
oh boy, too bad you're not watching.
I'm watching. I started watching Doom Patrol. I'm on episode 2. So
wait till you get to the 1 episode, bro. You're gonna laugh your ass off.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying Doom Patrol. It's good. It's a good show.
Told you.
I can't complain. It's a bit slow, but I think now that's going to HBO, it's going to be shown on HBO Max. It's going to get a better budgets, and you've got good caliber actors anyway in there.
It's not going to get a bigger budget because it's already filming season 2. Oh,
that means they no. If it's filming, they can add money to the budget.
Oh yes, but
yeah. So which means trust me,
it's just going to be showing on both platforms.
It's going to look better. I guarantee you it's going to look better. Because remember, they announced it was going to be on HBO Max when? No, it was not now. It wasn't.
March 2020.
No, but they announced it when? They announced it way back.
They announced? Oh, that they were going on both?
Yeah, like 3 months ago or 2.5 months ago, something like that. Yeah, so it means they've already decided how much more budget to give it.
But here's the kicker, bro. Swamp Thing. Look good. Just never finished it because of what happened with it.
What happened with Swamp Thing?
It was canceled because of the North Carolina credit.
Oh yeah, I mean
they had to come. They were expecting that money paperwork wasn't filed properly. They didn't get shit. So they decided to cancel it instead of just moving it to another state that would have gave them the break.
I think also maybe just because I mean, you never know what comes up with it. I mean, it's something they could revisit, something they may do other things with. Who knows?
Yeah, they were thinking about making it a movie. No, fuck the movie.
I mean, they can still make it. Again, it all depends on what they want to do.
This is true, but it's just to me, movies now. I like my movies. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, there's no room for really storytelling in a movie. You gotta rush everything.
No, there is room for storytelling. But the thing is, this just depends on what character you're doing, right? And depends what. Some things are just a lot. So, for instance, you think about Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps going.
Oh, that was announced for HBO Max.
HBO Max. Now I think about it, it makes more sense there. And now that I know Berlanti only produces and doesn't actually show runs.
No, he's not the show. He's not even the showrunner on Titans or Doom Patrol.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I know. So that's fine with me. Oh, I saw a C on Apple Plus.
Oh, you watched the first 3 episodes?
I watched the first 3 episodes. Yeah.
What'd you think?
First episode was really slow. By episode 3, it was
starting to pick up.
Yeah, starting to pick up. The whole premise of everybody. I mean, there were more questions. I was watching it with my girl, and there were so many questions. Were like, how do you do? But they also time spent a lot of things, so we didn't have to ask a lot of questions. I think it would be a decent show. A lot of people said the morning show is good because it's also the same people who did Newsroom. If you ever watched Newsroom on HBO, that was a really good show. I like Newsroom, so I think that would be a good show as well, just because it's the same.
Did you watch the morning show?
No, I'm like, I don't like morning shows in general. I like Newsroom because it was news. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's like two different things. It's like Good Morning America. I don't watch that, but I'll watch the news if I was going to watch anything news related. So.
Yeah, but I don't know what the morning show is about, so I can't. Because my one friend said he enjoyed the first episode. He's like, you should give it a shot. You might like it.
It's the inner work. It's like the newsroom. It's the inner workings of a newsroom or a morning show. So, it's a lot of that background. There's a lot of backstabbing. The thing I liked about Newsroom, which is what I watched, is that Newsroom used real topics, showed you how reporters try to get the news, right? And then how they also delivered it in the newsroom. And, sometimes you put stuff out and they're like, did you vet it? No, but it was from this. Did you vet the news? And then you see how everybody else is refuting the news and they're like, we just messed up and put some false information out there. This is when putting out false news was a problem, Now it doesn't matter, So it was cool watching that because then people were really concerned about like, oh, we didn't triple check this, we didn't get a backup for the backup for the backup for this news. So that whole environment was nice to see, but that was that. I haven't seen For All Mankind. Everybody says that's not that good in general. So
I don't have anything to do with Apple TV, even though I could get it on I'm not paying them $4 a month.
So yeah. So that was that with that. Any other things we need to cover? Any news? I know you sent me something. I just can't remember what it was again.
That how everybody thought Martin Scorsese had his hand in the Joker. He didn't.
No. He said he thought about it, but he didn't.
He had no hands in it. He gave it over to one of his producing partners. She had a hand in it, and then
she produced the movie.
Todd Phillips.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. The Joker is a juggernaut. It made its money. It'll, like you said, it needs literally 70-something million just to. That'll probably happen this week.
Yeah, by the end of this week it will. Just some quick news bites here. This is from Screen Rant. Independence Day director blames Suicide Squad and Will Smith for sequel failure. Of course, that movie did not have Will Smith, so what do you expect? So here's what he said.
Look.
Wait, and it was also not that good, but here's what he said. He said, well, that was a bit more complicated because I just wanted to make a movie exactly like the first, but then in the middle of production, Will Smith opted out because he wanted to do Suicide Squad. I should have stopped making the movie because we had a much better script after I had to really fast cobble another script together and should have just said no because all of a sudden I was making something I criticized myself. for making. Okay, fair enough.
Can't blame that Will Smith pulled out. Honestly, with Will Smith, look, granted, you know what? How about you release that script to the internet and let the internet decide if it would have been better? Because you still have his character in there. Now, if it would have been, if the internet reacted better, okay, maybe you make a few hundred more million. It's just Will Smith ain't that bankable star like he used to be. That shows with Gemini Man.
Nah, Gemini Man is just, it was one of those movies where it was hard to.
It was going to be hard.
No, it was hard. It's hard anyone, because even I think even if The Rock did it, it will do better, but it still won't make his money. Because the problem with Gemini Man is the people who reviewed it, who said, like, Gemini Man had three problems. One was the story was very generic, right? Everybody who watched, even the people who liked it, said it was a very generic story that you now have to watch it in the right format. That's the biggest problem with Gemini Man. You have to watch it at 120 frames per second. And if you can watch it in 3D 120 frames, that is the best way to see it. And all the people who watch it in that format, even though they did like, yeah, the story is okay, but man, when you watch it, like, everything works out. That was a problem.
I don't like 3D movies.
It's not a 3D thing. It's because it's hard to describe. He said it was like you watching a documentary in the film, in the sense that, you know, when you watch the war documentaries and it feels so real. That was the explanation I got from a lot of people, were like the closest thing is a documentary. And you're like, wait, that doesn't sound like a good movie. He's like, no, the feel of the action feels like, you know how, like, when they show you Iraq, or when people went to Iraq war or something like that, you know, like, oh man, I do not want to be in that place. That's what it felt like. And I'm like, okay, I get what he was trying to do, but there was no way that movie would have, like, done well. The only way it would have done better was, like, you had to do The Rock, somebody else, make it a Fast and Furious movie, right? And call it a day. That's the only way. And it will cost too much more money because the tech is expensive too as well.
Look, man, not everything can be Hobbs and Shaw, bro, with a transforming motorcycle and black Superman.
I watched Hobbs and Shaw. It was okay.
Come on, bro. It's a Fast and Furious movie with just Vin Diesel.
No, it wasn't that. It was just like the writing was poor for them. Like it didn't, you know what I mean? Like the lines were there, but like I felt like the only thing that kept it there was like The Rock has good chemistry with Jason Statham, and the girl also worked well. But yes, they have cheesy writing in all Fast and Furious, but the cheesy writing matched the characters. Like even Tyrese, whenever he does his thing, you just know but you know that that's his character, right? And then when Ludacris tells him to shut up, it's like, you know, Ludacris is always going to tell him to do that.
But you didn't like the reveal of Kevin Hart?
No, that was fun. That was fun.
Or Ryan Reynolds with his little tattoo.
No, right. I mean, like those things are the actors themselves, not the writing. It has nothing to do with it. It's just when you throw Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart in that kind of stuff, that thing could have been ad-libbed by them and not even been by the script at all. You know that very well.
That scene could have probably been ad-libbed.
So that's why I said it didn't do anything for me other than like hopefully to get better people to just write the sequels.
If they do a sequel. Which the way they set that up, though, it kind of has to with the way it ends. Being with that, because like they want to get Keanu Reeves into the franchise. What if Keanu Reeves is the one behind the voice?
Oh yeah, I mean that would be cool. I mean, if they showed Keanu at the end of the movie, this movie it would probably made $1 billion for them easy. Do you know the movie that has almost made $1 billion? Rocket Man.
The John Elton story?
Let me go to Box Office Mojo to show you guys the type of Rocket Man. I was shocked.
Really? Wow. Now, what'd you think of the Jumanji, the Next Level final trailer?
It was good. It's a good trailer. Sorry, I lied. Rocket Man is not. What was I looking at?
Well, I was going to say, I didn't think so. But Box Office Mojo's new setup is so stupid.
Yeah, sorry. It's 195 million. I just saw 98 and I thought it was like 900.
Billions.
Yeah. My brain just miscalculated that one completely. Yeah.
Are you excited for The Witcher?
Oh yes. Let's talk about some Witcher, man.
Yo, that trailer. I don't know what in the Blue Blazers is going on, and I don't care.
You're just all in.
I'm all in. Watching somebody who is a I'm no Dungeons and Dragons fan. I don't know the concepts of it or nothing. But the fact that Henry Cavill gets to play with a sword and he looks happy doing it, it's great.
I mean, I played some of Witcher 3. I haven't played the game that much, but Sam is just all. I mean, you were in the chat, so Sam's happy about this. I mean, he follows the books. If he's read the books also, but
Yeah,
it
the
looks
first two books,
which the games don't follow, but it gives you a sense of like they have something here. I think they do. They know they have something here, and
dude,
if it nails right, oof.
The showrunner has it mapped out for 7 seasons. So if Netflix doesn't screw this up, we can get 7 seasons of this world. You know, maybe he has it all mapped up to where it's going to take 7 seasons to tell the full story. Hey, I'm on board.
So here's a funny thing, though. There's two ways. If the show does well, he's definitely not Superman anymore. If the show doesn't do well, he might not be Superman. If he does well, he still could be Superman, where they're like, we should use this guy because he still wants to. I mean, like that whole thing is crazy. I had an opportunity to go see a movie last week. I wasn't going to spoil it because I would sign, of course, an NDA for it. But I got a screening. It was an early screening. I got an email saying a screening preview for a movie, an action movie for next summer. Fill out some questionnaires. So they gave out, what kind of movies do you like? Did you like the last Mission Impossible, the one before that? I was like, okay, cool. Then they had like all Marvel.
Nation?
No, the Ghost Nation. Then they had all like superhero movies, all Marvel superhero movies. Then I was like, huh. And then I was like, okay. Then I went there, and then I thought to myself, I said, it has to be Wonder Woman. Because and when's Wonder Woman 2 release date? Let's try and check. June 5th, which is summer.
Next summer.
Next summer, right? Because also Wonder Woman is completely done. Patty Jenkins said the movie's done. The reshoots.
So early screenings are for what? Fan reaction?
Test screenings. This was test.
This early?
Yeah, the movie's done.
If some, depending on how test screenings go, then there might be
some changes. Yeah, but why not test screen it now? Remember, like, I can't remember what Marvel movie they test screened like 6 months before it came out. This is technically around that time. This is more than 6 months, but it's around that time to do something. Because if you do a test screening now and you want to change some things, you can change it in the next 2 months, right? And especially if it requires VFX. But the reason why I didn't watch it is because it went there in line and they kept on asking how old you were if you had a young girl, like a young daughter, sister, or something, to go in. And they kept on pulling like parents with the young daughters. I was like, okay, there's only one movie. If it's all action,
that sounds like something to deal with Wonder Woman.
I was like, it's gotta be Wonder Woman or Black Widow, but Black Widow is still filming. So
it's done. Principal. If anything, they'll go back for reshoots.
Yeah, but they just finished principal, which means they edited. I mean, they're not done at all with that.
Well, today we got the announcement of Falcon and Winter Soldier started filming.
Yeah.
I don't know her name, but I'll just say Agent May. She's an assassin in Star Wars Mandalorian.
Oh, okay, cool.
She has the role. So you guys be ready. That's next Tuesday and Friday of next week. We're getting 2 episodes next week of that show. So
when's the bundle pack coming? I want the ESPN Hulu bundle pack.
I guess when it goes live, you could try to get it. I know they had it when Warren signed up, where he paid like $140 for 3 years.
No, that was like the Disney Plus one, like the Disney fan cheaper price.
So you want to get the
Hulu and ESPN? I just want the Hulu in there. I mean, ESPN I could care less. But
Hulu isn't the ad-free one though, dude. It's the ad-free Hulu because it's not. I don't know. All I know is I got ad-free Hulu with my son, and that is like
Oh, it's
the
dope.
best.
It's
It's the
dope.
best.
But here's where the war is going to be interesting. So HBO Max announced all their stuff last week. They announced a lot of shows. There's new Game of Thrones, Targaryens, which is nice. We've got Green Lantern. You know, fans who like Doctor Who. I like Doctor Who. They have the whole thing there. They've got South Park as well. They've got Fresh Prince. I think they own Family Matters. They haven't finalized on that. That's why that's not like shows
Are
that
you sure they got Fresh Prince? Wasn't that NBC?
No, Fresh Prince is there. It was on the list.
Oh, okay.
It's Fresh Prince is there.
Oh God, please, dude! Did you see the naming for the NBC app?
No, what's the name?
They're calling it Peacock.
Oh yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's wait. But this is for anime fans. Crunchyroll is like the biggest place to watch anime. Which
they're gonna have a part of that.
Crunchyroll is gonna be. You can watch Crunchyroll content with HBO Max.
So that sounds like more of an investment at $15.
Mm-hmm. Then you get all TNT stuff. You get.
I don't care about TNT.
No,
stuff.
but it doesn't matter whether you don't care or not. I'm just saying that's the content they have, right?
I mean, I watched 2 shows from TNT, so yeah.
So yeah, I mean, doesn't you have that in there? They've got the whole Hanna-Barbera collection. If you like those old ones, bringing back again the Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny stuff. Like there's a lot. Like they have a catalog. Like they have a huge.
Well, it said it in the press release: 10,000 hours of shows.
I mean, I was already there to watch. Like just HBO alone, for me, is fine because you know how HBO is. There is always one show or 2 shows they will make, and you're like, I gotta watch it. Now they've got a lot of shows, and then you now have if you're adding Crunchyroll for me, that's already like done. I'm like, I don't need to get anywhere to watch my anime. I'm good.
My son's been trying to get me to watch so many animes on his Hulu.
Yeah, there's a lot of good. Hulu is a good place for anime too. So at least
it's got some good stuff. I found some old Gundams that I liked.
Exactly. So there's a lot of content, which puts a lot of things in situation where I tell fans of like Apple TV, and I go, look, here's what's going to happen is like you're going to have to divvy up and pay. But here's the best one. And I was telling my girl this. I was like, because she keeps complaining there's certain shows. Like I started Person of Interest, and I just didn't continue with her. I just kept on watching on my own. You can you can do joints. They talked a while about this. You can say we have, doesn't matter if you're on the family plan or somebody else, you can have 2 accounts and you can link with somebody else and watch a show together, which means you have to watch the show together. I was like, this one's for you. They know there are people like you out there. And she's like, yes, good. I was like, that's fine. I was like, as long as it's not.
Got you tethered to that show, so you're like, you can't proceed without me.
Yeah, but you know how like with Game of Thrones, right? Especially that was the biggest thing with Game of Thrones. They're like, babe, I gotta watch it. She's like, I'm working. I'm like, but I gotta watch it.
I gotta do a show in an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, as long as it doesn't interfere with like, Targaryens is probably going to jump in there. But they didn't even talk about the like Westworld and stuff like that. All that stuff is part of HBO, so they don't need to talk about it because it's going to be there. But there's so much content. So it's going to be HBO at 15, but it looks like they're packing a lot to make sure that $15 makes sense. And if they have an outside partners like Crunchyroll and a few others they mentioned who are not part of it, then it makes sense. If I were Warner Brothers, I would actually reach out to Sony and get Sony catalog as well. It's going to cost them money for licensing, but if you add the Sony catalog as well, that's just a bonus. Right there.
That's going to be a conflict of interest.
Why?
The Spider-Man Marvel ones.
Mm-hmm. That's not going.
Oh, what the hell? Disney owns freaking Gotham.
No, they don't own it. It's still Warner Brothers show. It just displayed there. It's still a Warner Brothers show. Remember, Supergirl was on CBS, and then they moved it to CW, so it doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. So Tech Guy Smart Guy says, I don't think they want him as Superman anymore. I think there were some people who didn't want him as Superman, and those guys are gone, and it's a new regime. And I think the guy in the new regime is just trying to play out what he thinks works. So he's taking the slow approach, which is fine.
Here's another piece of news. Ezra Miller's Fantastic Beasts 3 is slated to start production. They set a date. I didn't click the whole article, but now that pushes the Flash even further out. They might as well just recast Flash because I really did not like him as
Yeah,
Flash.
they should recast Flash. I mean, because the idea was he was supposed to start shooting Flash beginning of next year, and if Fantastic Beasts jumps into play, if I were them, you know what they should do? Oh, instead of making what they should do, they shouldn't do a Harry Potter movie because they were talking about there might be a Harry Potter movies coming up.
More
with the main Harry Potter characters. No. TV show, HBO, 8 episodes. You know that will kill a whole generation of people.
Oh hell yeah, dude! This is the era of streaming shows that are going to work. Oh, here we go. Some ass clown.
This is block. There we go. Yeah, and I agreed. Tech guy Cavill got completely screwed on that. But I think so. Here's what I think's happening. I think when HBO Max launches, a week or two after, they're gonna announce the Snyder Cut is coming. I'm not saying
that was also announced. Well, not announced, but they had that feeling today on Collider Live as well.
There's the only reason, like, think about the many people who are talking about it. Junkie Excel's talked about his scores finished. You have the
Jason Momoa saying he's seen a copy.
Jason Momoa, I mean, Jason Momoa is a big. You can have blame him. This is a guy that helped his career, right? So you've got all those there, and you're like, okay, look, it's good. It's gonna come. It's gonna show up, and it's probably going to do bunker numbers. And I think it's going to, and I think which is why like Cavill's like, I'm not saying Cavill's quiet or anything, but I think if done right, and also depends on where J.J. Abrams decides to go. Because if I'm JJ, I would just say, look, Cavill, let's do this. Are you in or out? I mean, Cavill says he's in anyway. He wants to do it. So you have a guy who wants to do it, and I know he wants to get premium paid. Then there are ways to pay actors where it doesn't affect you. You can do a longer term thing and bookend it, and just say, hey, Cavill. Because basically all they need to do is do Cavill, say, get time on a 3-movie contract, and sit down with Netflix and just bookend the timing for it. Because he's going to be the same size physically for both shows, it's fine. And in Netflix, he has a wig on, and he grows a little scruff, which he can always shave off or shave on. That's it. I mean, shave off.
Well, you figure it's episode shows, and a typical show takes about 8 days to film. So he's gone for about 4 months filming that. Then he could go film 6 months. He'll do Superman.
True.
It can be done. And if there's any reshoots for either show, well, they could always put some fake hair on them.
Shows don't usually do reshoots. They try to nail it each time. That's how shows are done. Movies have a longer span for things. But HBO shows are a little bit better on that. So,
but our last trailer that we got today, did you watch The Banker?
Banker's cool though. I liked it. I actually
that's an Apple TV movie.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good pick from them. I mean, Samuel Jackson definitely made it. Just him laughing. It's like, you see, I'm black. I woke up this morning. I'm still black.
I thought it was a good trailer. I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah, but it's a good time for streaming services. And I did the math of services. It would cost like $90 if I were to do everything I do, including Spotify for listening to music, right? All the way. It's about $90, which
don't you do Tidal?
I did Tidal just to test out the headphones.
Okay. Free trial.
Tidal the audio quality is 10 times better still. As much as I don't like the service, because the problem with Tidal is also there's not a lot of it doesn't have as many songs that release master tracks. Because when you listen to it, it's like even on like cheaper headphones, you hear the quality come out still. It's like
I liked it, but
It's expensive. It's $19.99. It's just expensive.
Well, I didn't go that high quality. I had them for a brief minute, but then I switched over to the YouTube Music because I get the YouTube Premium bundle. I don't like my ads, so I just went that route.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate everyone for chiming in. Thank you, Tech Guy Smart Buy and Charlie for jumping in. If you guys have any questions or any comments, please leave them down below. And we'll be back next week with some more news to chat. And always enjoy your entertainment. Oh.